Namaste, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kassandra, and this is your half-hour morning yoga practice. This should really help you get rid of any aches and pains. We're going to open up deeply into our hips, into our hamstrings, as well as into our shoulders and upper back, so that you can really feel energized and ready for the day ahead. As with all of my morning yoga practices, I'm really encouraging you to use this time to set the tone for your day, to really choose an intention that captures how you want to feel today. No props are required, and we're going to start laying down in Ananda Balasana, our happy baby pose. So you can lay all the way down onto your back, pulling your knees in towards you and widening them towards your shoulders. You might choose to stay here. You can go deeper by holding onto the big toes or your ankles, stacking your feet over your knees. And I like to sway a little side to side, just as a way to check in with the lower body, using the elbows to push the knees open a little bit wider. Try to press your tailbone into the floor so your entire spine is supported. And release, just so you can cross your right ankle over the top of your left knee, reach that thigh away, and then start to draw your left knee in towards your chest. Notice if you're rocking on one side or the other. And you can begin to ask yourself what kind of intention you're trying to set for your day. What it is that you're trying to cultivate and focus on. We'll just go and switch sides. Release your left foot down, cross your left ankle over the top of your right knee, and pull that right thigh and right knee in. And try not to let this left thigh collapse in towards you. We're trying to press it out and away, really targeting that outer left glute and outer hip. And give it one last little squeeze here. And let's carefully release the feet down to the floor. Bring your feet a little bit closer in towards one another and open up your knees and thighs as if you were doing reclined butterfly pose, but don't touch your feet together. Keep a little bit of a gap between them. Shrug your shoulders down and away from your ears. And we're going to push into the feet in order to lift the hips up. So in between our bridge pose and our reclined butterfly pose, you're going to inhale to squeeze and lift up, and then keep your hips up high as you hug through your inner thighs to bring your knees in. So your feet should still be about hip width distance apart. Go ahead and roll to the outer ankle, press the knees open. Exhale, squeeze the thighs back in. Try to relax your shoulders and just keep doing this a few more times. Really trying to engage and strengthen through the inner legs. Inhale to open. Exhale, squeeze and lift. Relax your neck. Exhale, squeeze. Our last one here. So inhale, open up. Squeeze it in and roll all the way down inch by inch. Let's cross at the ankles. We're just going to lift up, tabletop pose onto hands and knees. Make sure that all of your weight is not sinking into your wrists and that you're really pushing through your fingertips and knuckles. I'm going to start this on the left side first because I want you to really see what we're doing. Hug your lower belly in so your spine is nice and flat. And just like a little fire hydrant pose, you're going to inhale to lift that left knee up as high as your hip with the knee bent. Exhale to lower, and then keep that knee bent as you squeeze and pulse the leg up. Back down, and then out to the side and lower. Lift straight back, foot is flexed. Take about 3 more rounds of this and notice the tendency for your lower back to dip and for the belly to drop down towards the mat. You're using a little bit of core strength here. We're going to do 1 more. Open out to side, keep both elbows straight. Reach it back and then hold here. See if you can drop the belly, lift the gaze, and you might choose to stay as you are. You can find a little tiger pose stretch, reaching back for your heel or your ankle with your right hand. Opening up. And let's release. Cat and cow. Start by rounding as you contract here. And then inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, roll your shoulders back. Exhale, release. 2 more like this, flowing with your breath. This is your opportunity to set the pace for the day, to start with clear purpose and intention. Last exhale here as you round. Find your neutral tabletop pose, firm up through the core, and we're gonna lift and float that right knee up as high as the hip, back down, and kick to press it up, and then back down. Notice what's happening in your left arm and left wrist as you do this. Try to keep some weight in your right hand. Both elbows should be straight. And really pressing into the fingertips and knuckles, so it's not just your wrists taking all of your body weight. We're gonna do 1 more here. Inhale, lift side, and down, back, and down. And actually, let's re-extend that one for our tiger pose. So this time you can open up through your chest a little bit, either hanging out here or reaching back with your left hand to hold on to the right ankle. This should not be felt as pain or compression in your lower back. And let's release, round it in. A few more rounds of cat and cow. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more like this. And last one. Puppy pose, Anahata Asana. Walk your hands forward, melt your heart, melt your forehead and chest down towards the mat. Think of sliding your shoulder blades down your back and breathing into the space around your heart. Feeling your rib cage expand front to back as well as side to side. We'll slide onto our bellies for a variation of Bhujangasana Cobra Pose. Instead of having our hands on the floor, we're going to widen our stance with the arms. Come up onto your fingertips. Really make sure you're pressing into the tops of your feet. And as you inhale, sway yourself up, broaden, exhale, melt all the way down. A few more like this. Again, this is not meant to be pinching, compression, or pain in your lower back. Focus on the expansion you get at the front of your chest and into your shoulders and upper back. 1 more here. Inhale. And exhale. Slide your hands back. We're going to find our first downward facing dog. Hands are shoulder width distance apart, feet hip width distance apart. And you can paddle the feet. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you would like here. And really focus on this length you're creating through your arms as well as through your spine. Let's reach our right leg up to the sky. Give it a big stretch by bending your knee and opening your hip. Keep pressing your chest towards your thighs. And we're going to bring the foot a few inches behind our right hand, so not all the way to the top of the mat. A variation of Vashisthasana side plank. Lean on your left hand, roll to the outer edges of both feet, and push the feet into the floor, Reach your right arm up overhead. As you inhale, press and lift up even higher. And on the exhale, let your hips come down as you reach your arm back, getting a little side body stretch here. Inhale, push and lift up. Exhale, dip it down. 2 more like this. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. Inhale. Hold here, keep spinning so the right hand comes down to the mat, and we're going to come into our pigeon pose. Bring your right knee behind your right wrist. Very similar to what we were doing in Bhujangasana or Cobra pose. Come up on these little spider fingers, and we're going to inhale to lift up, and then exhale, melt as far as feels good to you. 2 more like this. Nice and slow. Last one. And this time we'll fold forward. You might choose to stay up on your forearms, or if you'd like, you can go all the way down. We're going to take about 5 very deep breaths right here in the pose. Try to minimize the effort and the tension in your shoulders, in your arms, and in your neck. Just deep breathing, encouraging that right hip to relax, to let go. If you had lowered down towards the floor, like what I'm doing here, start to push back up. And we're going to come to take a seat. So rather than going back to down dog, you can lean on your right hip. And I'm going to give you some options here. You can either just bring your left shin stacked slightly staggered in front of the right one, and we're going to move forward into a fold. If you're feeling pretty open in your hips this morning, you can move into your square pose instead, stacking the shin on top of the other, flexing the feet. And this one is quite intense. No need to go too far into it. 5 breaths here as well. One more big inhale through the nose. And as you release, push into your hands. We'll start to lift back up and bring your hands back behind you so your feet can be flat to the floor. And maybe just take a little windshield wiper motion here, dropping the thighs side to side. And we'll set up for a reverse tabletop pose. Spread the fingertips wide, plant your feet into the earth, squeeze into your glutes as you push the pelvis and the hips up. You might feel this quite intensely in the front of your shoulders, but really dig down into your heels and drag them back. And let's release, crossing at the ankles, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And you're welcome to just hang out in this down dog, or you might want to take a little flow, inhaling through the spine as you come forward strong in your plank pose. Lower all the way down or halfway, cobra or upward facing dog. We all meet back, downward dog, pressing, tucking the toes under, lifting your hips up and back. And let's find this sequence on the other side. Reach your left leg up and big stretch here as you bend your left knee and open up your hip, still trying to push our left shoulder down. We'll step that left foot a few inches behind our left wrist, so not quite to the top of the mat. Lean on your right hand and roll to the outer edges of both feet for that variation of Vashisthasana side plank pose. As you exhale, let's dip our hips down, reach the arm back, big side body stretch. Inhale, push into your feet, lift. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. And lower. Our last one, inhale, push up. Keep rotating so you're facing forward again, coming into your pigeon pose on the second side. Left knee aligns to your left wrist. Don't worry about where your right heel is. It might be closer pointing back, or your heel might be more reaching towards the side of your mat. Just depends on your pelvis and on hip flexibility. Square off your hips as much as possible. Come up high onto your fingertips. As you inhale, open through your chest. Exhale, fold it down. A wave-like motion with the rhythm of your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Folding forward any amount. 5 deep breaths here. Pay attention to the internal dialogue whenever we're in a challenging yoga pose. Just notice where your thoughts tend to go, what you say to yourself. Maybe you notice that you distract yourself or that you hold your breath. Try to stay fully present to your experience, no matter how tempting it might be to distract and to try to ignore the sensations felt. One more big breath here. And we'll start to push our hands into the floor and really lift up. Staying in this seated pose, just rock onto your left hip so you can bring your right leg out in front of you. Option 1, to make this easier, just stagger your right shin in front of your left one. Or more intermediate approach, you're going to stack your right shin on top of the left one, square pose. We all fold forward. And even if you are intermediate or even advanced, even if you are very flexible, sometimes in the morning the more, deep stretches just don't really work. And that's perfectly fine as well. Really modify however you need to. This is about getting our body and our mind in the most optimal condition for whatever kind of day is coming. Relax your shoulders. And we'll start to lift back up. We'll take that little windshield wiper motion again with the knees. So just bring your feet flat to the floor and release this. And we can either do reverse tabletop pose again, or if you'd like a little extra challenge, you can do reverse plank pose. So with your legs straight, you still want your hands behind you, roughly underneath the shoulders. Spread the fingertips wide. We push into the heels, squeeze and lift up. And see if you can get your feet flat on the floor. Definitely harder. Big breath in. And release. Let's cross at the ankles, downward dog. Step it back. And you might hold here or take your vinyasa. Inhale to plank, chaturanga, cobra or upward dog, downward facing dog. Big stretch in here. And we'll just join our feet to our hands at the middle of the mat. So walk your hands back and your feet forward. You can push into the floor, roll up inch by inch. Prasarita Padottanasana, our wide-legged forward fold. Step your feet out wide. You want them roughly underneath your palms if you were going to open up your arms. turn the toes in slightly and really pull and lift up through your quads. Lengthen your tailbone down, draw the lower belly in. As you inhale, lengthen out of the low back and try to maintain this lift even as you hinge forward into that fold. Choosing whichever variation feels the best to you, whether that's just walking your hands back, reaching for your feet and your ankles, maybe interlacing your hands and reaching the knuckles up and over. Just check to see what would feel the best right now. And notice where your weight is being distributed through the four corners of both feet. So you're not rolling to the outer ankle, really push down into your big toes. Let's take a cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. We'll come into our temple pose. Walk your hands forward so you can lift your chest and just turn your heels in, toes out, start to bend into your knees, and we're gonna lift up. So you need to kind of scoop the pelvis under. Again, engage through your abdominals and squeeze into your glutes to push your knees open wider. As you inhale, circle the arms up and look up. Exhale, sink even lower as you draw the hands down. Two more like this. Last one. And hold it here. Let's bring our hands to our thighs. Take a little twist. Right shoulder down, left shoulder back. Switching sides. Coming back to neutral, bring your fingertips down to the floor and see if you can toe heel your feet a little bit wider than your hips, still with your heels and toes out, Malasana, your yogi squat. Pressing your elbows to the insides of your knees, hands at your heart, lift up through the crown of your head. One more big breath here. And now try to keep your knees open exactly as they are as you release your arms forward so they don't buckle in. Bring your fingertips back behind you and just let your hips rock down to the mat. Come to take a seat in any way that is comfortable. Let's reach our right arm all the way up and over. Big side body stretch. Really let your head be heavy so your neck can relax. And reach your right arm out to the side so it's hovering about a foot off the floor. Big neck stretch here. Feel the pull of that right hand lift you up, and we'll take a little twist before we go to the other side. Left hand to your right knee, right hand back. And we face forward, second side, left arm up and over. Keep pushing into your left hip, relax your head. And stay in this side bend as you release your left arm out to the side to hover. Not clenching your jaw, keeping it soft. Feel the pull of that left hand, bring you back up, little twist, right hand to your left knee, open up. And we'll come forward. Sit up tall as you close your eyes, roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. And connect to your breath. Feel it travel all the way down to your low belly as it grounds and anchors you. Let's bring our palms together at the heart. See if you can find your one-word intention for the day ahead. We'll close this class with the chant of Om one time. Let's inhale to chant, breathing in. Om. Bowing forward, namaste. Thank you so much for doing this morning yoga practice with me. I hope this went well for you and that you can really feel what it's like to set some time aside for yourself in the morning, to move mindfully and to just do something for yourself, really setting the intention for the day ahead. I would love to know what word you picked. Leave it down below in the comments. And if you'd like to stay a little longer, you can do this 5-minute affirmation right here. Please subscribe and hopefully you will practice again with me tomorrow morning. Namaste.